Yo, what's going on, everybody? Add a title. Got a good friend of mine jumping on here. Talk about some good topics. How do I put a title? Thriving in the world today. Money and metaphysics. I like that. Metaphysics. What's going on, fam? Post. All right. My boy Kevin's about to join. Boom. Let's go. What's going on, guys? Just getting my boy on here. There he is.
What's good, brother?
Bro, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, man. Good to see you. Good to see you here in the virtual. Man, I'm excited, guys. So it's my boy Kevin. He's a performance coach in his own right, master of the laws of the universe. Just, keeping a smile on your face in the times we're living in today. He does a whole bunch of things. I'm going to let him get into it. NFTs, consulting, relationships, raising your bottom line in business. Yeah, man, pleasure to have you.
Stoked to be here, Akash. Here we go again.
Technical difficulties. Here we go. So, guys, my boy Kevin, I'm really curious to know what his perspective is on the laws of the universe, how we can stay happy today in the times we're living in, and just all in all, how do we thrive as not only an individual but as a collective in these times we're living in, where there's so much polarity, there's so much just dismay and just sadness and apathy in the world. I mean, I'm driving down the street. I was going to Starbucks in the morning. There's like a city of tents as I'm bending the corner just to go to a local coffee shop, and across the street is like this high-end shopping center. Talk about polarity, man. I walk around the grocery store, I walk around just in life, clients on Instagram and my DMs, people are really going through it. No one really talks about it, so I want to talk about it. I want to get my boy on here. I want to know what he thinks. What is the way forward? On that note, what do you see happening in the world right now, Kevin?
Yeah, man, it's wild out there for sure. And I think you nailed it with the law of polarity, right? Which is one of the natural laws of the Hermetic tradition or many traditions, which is basically, when you polarize all the way into one side of any issue, you're going to create the opposite effect, and it'll polarize that either attraction or repulsion force. And obviously this plays out in relationships, this plays out with money, and it's playing out in the world right now. So what we have, the one you were describing is like the wealth and the scarcity, right? So extreme poverty is being created next to extreme wealth because there's a imbalance. And the way I see it is, this is happening all over the planet right now, whether it's with war, whether it's with the plague and people freaking out about health, or whether it's the political kind of lockdowns and totalitarian things we're seeing happening. It's because as the world becomes more decentralized, right? Crypto, people becoming entrepreneurs, people opening their own businesses, buying land, growing food, saying, fuck you, I don't want to do these silly rules that make no sense and are not in accordance with natural law. The law of polarity will create more control to come in and try to stop that. Now, the idea is that we can't escape the natural laws. We can't change them. They're just existing. It's the rules of the game of the physical universe we're in. The key is to, quote unquote, live with them and merge with them, or live above them. Not that you're above them, that you're beyond them, but that you understand the game. And so a lot of people are fucked up with their inner polarity, which is why they externalize it and become greedy and screw people over, steal, fight, attack, shame, whatever.
I love that. I love that. So, guys, this whole law of polarity thing, these are natural laws of the universe, there's no escaping them. We have to essentially live with them, whether we want to or not, right? So when I was learning the game, I was always okay, there's no sense in fighting this. So like, how can I best integrate these laws? Right now we're talking about the law of polarity. And just to, put it in perspective, I mean, look at existence right now, guys. It's an atom, right? We're all vibrating atoms. What is this? Electron and a proton, a positive and a negative charge. So even at the atomic level, these laws are still playing out. Now, Kevin just mentioned right now the inner polarity and how that's getting externalized, meaning the polarity we're experiencing inside this negative and positive, and I'm gonna have you elaborate on this in just a second and give some examples for the people. But that's gonna start showing out in your outside world. And then, how we're all business coaches and whatnot, not to make it a business thing. I just want to keep it broad for everyone. But like, just even if you're working a job, this can show up with the amount of money you're making, how you're doing at work, whether you get the raise, the next position in business, what your revenue's looking like, just what you experience, right? So give an example of like this internal law, like internal polarity happening, and then how it can externalize. I know there's a numerous amount, but just like something that comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, on the business level, this one's great. And to your example with like wealth and poverty next door to each other, your inner polarity around, let's call it scarcity, right? There's not enough. And that's like a belief, it's an emotion attached to it, it's a thought, whatever. If you really believe that inside yourself and you're constantly worried about, wow, there's not going to be enough, or like, well, if I don't take this or do this, then, I won't get mine, whatever that is. It could be attention, it could be validation, it could be love. It could be money and food and shelter. It could be physical things. If you're inside with that, and maybe you're not even that aware of it, it's happening unconsciously. Happens all the time. In the outside world, you'll create that, right? You'll get the job interview, but you'll sabotage it subtly or fuck it up. A client will want to come to you and like have a conversation, but you say no because something's happened. You'll subtly create the outside to reflect and mirror that inside of you in accordance with law. And that's just what happens. And until you realize that that's happening, it might seem like the universe is against you and that nothing ever works. You never have enough money in the bank, or things are just always fucked up for you. But what's actually happening is you just have to address this inner sense of balance. And if it's the law of polarity, if you polarize towards the law of abundance, or the side of, wow, there's more than enough to go around. I'm inherently loved. I'm inherently valuable. I am God. I am goddess, whatever. You can move from that, and the law of polarity will polarize you the other way. And then opportunities will start appearing everywhere and you'll start seeing them.
So like, how does one like, I mean, I agree completely, but like, for the person that's listening, that's like, hey, I hear you. It makes sense. I understand this is a law of the universe. I follow you guys. I follow the Hermetic. But I'm like, I look outside in my world and it's just fucked everywhere. Like, there's no money in the bank. I just got broken up with. I lost my job. Your family's struggling. And again, of course, I'm giving extremes. This shit's real. Like, this shit's real. Like, what does one do in that position? Like, knowing that there's someone who's open. All right. So like, there's someone who's open, who understands, okay, I get that these principles of life essentially is how the universe takes form, and we're part of that universe. So like, that person, but they're like, oh my God, Kevin, I'm out here and I'm struggling. I'm like, how do I take that first step? What do they do?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one because it's going to depend on your circumstance and where you're at. It's also going to depend on just how much fuck it you're in. So if you're in a comfortable place where you can, keep playing your game, whatever it is, it might be hard to get the energy to shift, because you'll keep saying, well, this is just the way things are. Well, this job's good enough. Well, it wasn't a good relationship anyway. That's kind of the tricky part. But when it gets enough into the discomfort where you're just like, I can't do it anymore. Fuck it. I cannot live this way anymore. And you get fed up, you'll get to a limit point, and instead of giving up and becoming resentful or becoming angry or depressed, you have a choice in that moment. And this is where a practice of meditation, being with nature, asking for support from trusted friends and allies all help. But you have to do some self-inquiry and be like, wait, why am I creating this? What is happening? And if you go into your inner world and you ask sincerely, what is happening? Why is happening? Why is this happening? And where is it coming from? And then you sit with that. Nothing may happen, maybe for days, but sit with it. And I promise you, you will get an answer. And it may come in mysterious ways. It may come through synchronicity. It may come through your own inner prompting, but you'll start to untangle that knot, right? You know, when you have like your iPhone headphones or your cords and they get all fucking tangled in your bag, that's how these systems inside you will get caught up. And if you don't take the time to actually disentangle them and you start trying to manifest or create the business or go dating, whatever, it's not going to work because the inner wiring is still knotted up. So this is what we call shadow work, or what we call opening that portal inside, because it's an inside job. And the inner will affect the outer much faster because it's the realm of cause. You're experiencing effects out here. And so if you address the cause, it's a game changer.
All right, so guys, so like essentially what you got to do is you got to get really pissed at your circumstances first, right? So I'm talking to the person that's like, it's going down in my life right now. It's fucked. I got problems in all areas and all facets. However, I know that there's this law of polarity that I need to balance my inner energies and get into this harmony state. I see people doing the things that I want to do, and I see them embodying the life, like the exuberance, the ecstasy, the enthusiasm that I want, and understand that I need to sort my internals in order. So step number one, get really upset at your situation. Like, fuck this situation. Oh, am I losing you? Are we still here? Kevin! Wait for him to come back, guys. He's saying some great stuff right now. First, you gotta just be mad. If you're not like, if you're just kind of like so like about your circumstances, so you're just like kind of like, I really want better, it sucks, but you know, like, this is not gonna work. It's not gonna work. There's a reason for this. And oh no, I think we lost him. All right, he's gonna come back. I already know he's gonna come back. He was saying some great stuff there, guys. I really want to nail this point home, because I remember when I was going through it in my own years back. I was just man, a broke bodybuilder. I was a broke bodybuilder. My fitness coaching business was not going very good. At the time, I was living at home in my mom's house. I just broke up with a girlfriend broke up with me at the time back in the day. Oh, Kevin's back. How do I? Kevin, let me get back in here. Is he coming? Is he coming? Come on, get back in here, Kevin. Yeah, man, I remember when I was going, I think I accepted him and he should be joining. I remember when I was going through it, it's just like, Jesus, I have to get so mad. And I really want, there's a thing about the levels of energy. This level of, like, anger is a higher energy than fear. Kevin, where are you? Jesus, I want you here for this. I'm going to do this fucking explanation. Guys, stay posted. Stay posted. I'm going to get into it. Kevin, I'm trying to add you back in. Accept. I'm clicking accept. Okay. Damn it. Okay. Well, in the meantime, let me just give you guys this while we figure out technical difficulties. So, like, when you're going through, you know, anger, fear, guilt, apathy, shame, like this, you know, scarcity mindset, right? What happens is these are all lower vibrational emotions. Damn, it just gave me a notification saying Kevin's unable to join. He might have Wi-Fi problems. Damn it. Okay, well, I'm gonna just take it from here for now until he comes back. When you get mad, you can actually use the anger to look past the dismay in your life. Like, you can use the rage to literally get over you being broke, to get over you being broken up with, to get over you don't have a job or the job that you want, or you hate your job and this happened to you, to get over your parents and whatever's going on. Whatever's happening in your life, your living conditions, just when you get fed up, you actually gain power. Now, does this work later on? No, not really. But I'm talking about steps 1, 2, 3 right now. All right, steps 1, 2, 3. We'll talk about 4. You don't do 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9, 10 until you do 1, 2, 3. Right? So step 1 is get mad. Get mad at your circumstances. This is what Kevin meant with the whole fuck you, or fuck it vibe, essentially. Kevin, I'm trying to add you back again. I see you. There he is.
I'm back.
I was like, where'd he go?
Boom.
Oh.
Universal power was too strong, so here we go.
Too strong with us, brother. Too strong. But yeah, I was just filling in the people essentially about the levels of energy and how anger is a higher vibration
Exactly.
guilt, shame, fear, and then just to go to your point about the fuck it muscle you were talking about, like fuck this, like that has to be step one, right? Step one. And again, we're speaking to the person that's aware of the universal laws, and they're like, how do I take the first step forward to like be happy? Essentially, is what we're doing. And sure, money, business, all these happy relationships, all that beautiful living circumstances, that all cascades. It comes as a byproduct from that, right? So, so steps 1, 2, 3. 1, fucking muscle. What comes next? They're mad now. What are we doing now?
Yeah, so this is great. Like once you have, and you're right, anger has more energy. It's not anger like fuck the world. It's like it's righteous indignation or righteous energy that's like, I'm gonna change this. And
Like
it's like setting a boundary with bullshit.
I'm better than this. Like
Yeah.
better. Like I need to fucking do better. Like
Yeah.
great distinction. Continue.
That's a powerful energy, and you got to get there, because if you're completely lethargic, you won't have the energy to shift. And the anger can become courage too, by the way. You can transmute it. So the next place to go is to start exactly where you are. So a lot of people, including myself, when they got to that state, want to jump ahead or just be like, all right, well, I'm going to fucking just move to China and go crazy and teach English, or I'm going to, make a huge leap. And you can do that. I wouldn't recommend it though if you are unresourced, because you need to be fully resourced to make a jump like that. Now, I did things like that, which ended poorly, and I had huge challenges come from that. It's much more powerful to start where you're at. So who are the 5 people you know the best? Take them out, have coffee, have lunch, start conversations. What are the opportunities that are sitting in front of you, in your text messages, in your email inbox, in your neighborhood? You already know someone that has something you need, right? So if you want to start dating, you're looking for a relationship, there's probably someone already around you that either knows a potential partner or is a potential partner that you've overlooked, ignored, or you've been in your head about. Same thing with a job, career, or business. Same thing with your health and fitness. Same thing with mental and emotional wellness. There's something that's already in your current reality that you just need to confront and accept. And that doesn't mean that's the end goal, but what that's going to get you into is momentum. So you make one small win, you take one small action, the universe will instantly start working with you and create a new timeline.
This is on point. I love this because it's so true. I remember when I got into my first real estate investment, it came from just a fuck it place, man. I was like in business, I was making good money, but I was like spending it, growing. Like I would have to trade my time for money, and I needed to get ahead to get to a certain income bracket to make a certain move. And that same fuck this energy, it was in a little bit different of a context. I was in like a decent, living situation, but internally from my standard, I just wasn't there. So context aside, everybody, like context aside, like this can happen. I don't care if you're a multimillionaire with a trust fund, you lost all your money, you're down to your last 400 grand coming from 10 mil, you're basically homeless. like you're like, fuck, I'm broke. You know what I mean? Like all jokes aside. And same thing, like the person that, has $100 to their name and they're down to 5. They're like, I had $100. Jesus, I could have fucking fed myself for 2 weeks off that, hypothetically, right? I'm just talking about scales of context, guys. Leave that aside. But you got to get mad first, because that just blows out the smoke screen of bullshit. Just straight bullshit. Just, you know what I mean? Like, this is the homeless population. No offense, you know what I mean? To like, I love them. They're a version of God. Beautiful, beautiful souls. But bullshit vibration. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Low vibration. It just blows these low vibrations out of your purview, essentially. It just gets it out of there when you get upset. Then you can see, like Kevin was saying, who's in your immediate circle. Who are the people that have some elements of, even if you're like, I don't know, hello, successful people, like, who are some people, you always got like a couple people that you can reach out to, or know someone that knows someone that, can get you in touch with them if you really try with that energy, right? That's the thing about energy. I remember, like, back to my story about doing my first real estate flip, was basically to save myself from going broke in my other business. Literally within 2 weeks, I had closed the escrow on a house. I was in the gym on cardio, and I was just pissed at the situation. How the fuck am I in this situation? I spent all this fucking money, and it's not working out for me. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna go flip this house. Fuck it, I'm gonna flip this house. And then within 2 weeks, you know what I mean, this happened. So like, straight up, like, who's in your network? Who can you call? Who knows someone that knows someone? and you're not going to even see those moves. That's the thing that I believe Kevin is saying. Let me know if I'm right or wrong here. That when you get mad and you get in that fuck it place, people you mean business. You know what I mean? They're like, fuck, Akash is heated about getting this done. When I called my real estate agent, he's like, fuck, I'm about to get this commission right now because Akash is not playing. Or, hey, Kevin reaching out to this, that, and the other person, like, oh, wow, he means business. I can feel it from his energy on the phone.
Yeah.
Feel it. That's what we're talking about, this righteous anger. Like, hey, this guy's trying to make a change. Okay, let me. People are just inclined to help when they know that you're fucking with whatever you're asking them to fuck with you for. You know what I'm saying? The fuck up. So, guys, just on that note, take it from here. I'm just passionate about this. This shit's so...
You're in it, bro. Let's fucking go. That's the energy. Because when you bring that, it's urgency and it's excitement and it's enthusiasm. People will just instantly respond. And they want to respond to that because they have something in their life that also needs that energy. And so they'll instantly feel that and they'll help you. And the best people who have been in this situation and know the game want to help you because they went through it. So you're going to be able to mirror back to them, that helping hand. When they were at the darkest point, someone reached out the hand and was like, hey, I got you. Like, come to the next step. And then you get to do that for other people later. And that's a fucking blessing. I'll do that for free. I love that.
Facts. That's a clutch point you just made right there. So what Kevin just said is like, listen, like when you're reaching out to the, people that are a little bit ahead of you in the game, a little bit more successful, coming from the place like, hey, changing my circumstances. Fuck this. I'm getting mad. What moves can I make? Now I'm like, da-da-da-da. At that point, when you reach out to people that, because everyone came from that place. You're not calling anybody that hasn't been down that road before. Like we're all experiencing the same emotions here. Like the context, of course, we're all individuals, is going to play out different per person, of course. But we're all doing the same thing in this human being living experience, essentially. So when you reach out, there's a lot of people don't know. Like I recognize the energy signature of whatever I was going through at that time that person is coming to me for. You know what I mean? What they're building. And it's like you're paying it forward. It's literally like, it's like you're giving that grace that you got that someone else gave to you back. So people discount how much people are willing to help. You just disqualify yourself from like getting helped by not being that energy. So on that note, like I remember in the beginning of the call, you mentioned something along the lines of just the polarity and then, wealth and affluence being right down the street from the poverty. And then literally the only difference is just what they're looking at, the mindset. Can you speak on that a little bit? Like, how can that person, like, how can they put fucking gasoline on that energy? Like, how can
I mean, there's nuance to this because we are in systems. So there's an entire overlay that is civilization around how money and value and goods and services move. And so some of the reason those people are intense on the street in a hyper affluent city is because of systemic issues that are completely fucked, actually. Now, that doesn't stop I met homeless people that are millionaires, that became millionaires from literally living on the street because their hustle game was insane. And that's real. You can do that. There's a lot of folks like that are mentally ill or veterans or have been completely fucked over by the system. And so those are folks that the affluent or the system itself, if it was in harmony with natural law at the highest level and with nature and compassion and reciprocity, we could easily take care of those people. We're not going to put them up in a 16-bedroom mansion, but we can get them clean food, water, and shelter for sure.
Systemic issues aside and mental illness aside, just speaking to the person that's,
Totally.
Yeah, but I remember just what I was speaking to is that you mentioned something about just like perception and like how do you hold it is what I'm saying. Because here's a better way to word the question. It's like, all right, I'm doing what Akash and Kevin are saying, and now I need to be consistent with it to hold it. However, I'm coming back to my house that's a mess, to my relationship that's not there, to, just waking up in these low vibrations and looking at myself in the mirror and like, damn it, I'm still here, even after hustling for a week or two and doing things and making the calls. So, and then I'm going outside and I'm just seeing this massive polarity again in the world. And of course, you're going to attract what you are and your reticular activating system. You buy a new car, you see it everywhere. You're still living in the junk car, all the other junk cars. That's what I meant by the homeless population. It's like, how do they keep it? How do they keep it going? This is a serious thing. I don't know. Seriously, I feel like I was just given. I feel like I was just blessed by God somehow to be able to like stay disciplined. But like, do you have any tips for people? Like, how do they stay on that train?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, there has to be consistency and discipline of some kind. And the classic Jordan Peterson advice, which is real, is make your bed, clean up your room. Like, if you can organize your physical space, which literally anyone can do, even if you live in a shack, you can organize it and you can beautify it. And if you start there, that will activate the reticular activating system and your whole subconscious to be like, oh, I care about my space and I've organized and ordered the chaos around me, right? There's that dance between order and chaos. And so that is a simple place to start. Having some kind of physical ritual, sunlight, fasting, fitness, meditation, something, even walking that you just do no matter what, will pull you out of the bullshit stories in your head about why you can't do X, Y, Z. This is why we do rituals and routines. It's not to become a high figure, performer and Superman off the bat. It's to subconsciously become competent at shifting our energy daily. And that's what the game is. And once you have that working for you, it goes on autopilot. And then you free up energy to actually open up the next level, which a lot of people, and this was my problem, is like you want to bite off too much at the beginning, more than you can chew and swallow. Like, all right, I'm going to start coaching. I've been watching this guy's content, or I'm doing this. I have to start like this. And it's like, I'm just going to go and just get my first client. Meanwhile, they just have no fucking clue how to run their life on the inner game systems, even though they may have started the process, right? They're a few steps in. It's like, start where you're at and move from there. And it sounds so cliche, and sometimes it's boring. Sometimes it'll take you 21 days just to get in a routine where you know how to eat right, you know how to move right.
That's not even that long.
Oh, that's
like,
quick.
One day is just going on benders, drinking and partying. Real quick. Waking up brunch by the beach, doing like this person's house, that person's house. You know what I mean? Fuck around is 21. No, you're absolutely right, bro. So guys, like what Kevin's talking about here is getting your reticular activating system. It's the part of your brain, like when you buy it everywhere. So in the analogy, the new buying is the abundance mindset of like, hey, my reality, I can change my circumstances. Literally, like you have to reprogram this in your brain if you haven't done this work. And people discount the intention behind making your bed and cleaning your house. A lot of times people are just like jaded from doing this because like growing up as a kid, your parents are saying do this, do that, and they're doing it's coming from like a place of like getting forced on them. But I'm like, what Kevin's saying is like, hey, if you're trying to create order in your life, you have to get acclimated to the energy of order. A very easy way to do that is, even if you don't like where you live, just keep it clean. You can do this. The dollar store has mops and all this shit. I promise you. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can make it neat and every day. And then the physical routine, the discipline, because here's the thing, life's going to come at you. It's one thing to get all motivated. You watch Instagram Live, you see the shit, you learn about the laws, like, I'm going to do it. You start making the call, start doing this, I'm waking up early. And then, a week later, your girlfriend breaks up with you, your boyfriend breaks up with you, you lose your job, some part of reality goes up in a way that hurts you, and you feel that low vibration. And if you've been living in that low vibration more than you've been living in the high vibration, your body is going to be so much more attuned to that energy signature. So it's going to blow you out of your high vibe perceptions, and now you're not going to be able to see those magnificent opportunities and the moves and that plan you made and all the things you're going to do to get out of this current. You're not going to be able to see how that's going to play out in the low vibration, because that's a high vibrational plan, strategy, way of moving. So if you're in a low vibrational state, those two things are not in resonance. You're not going to be able to have that available to you. So by having that routine in the morning, guys, making your bed, cleaning your room, Jordan Peterson shit, read the fucking 12 rules for life. Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus.
It's all there.
Damn it. And then have a physical routine. You don't need to go to the gym even. Just do some yoga at the house, go to the park, whether it's a jog. I mean, I love going to the gym. I mean, it's fucking $25 a month. I mean, Jesus, you know what I mean? Planet Fitness, $10, yes. So when because you're training the discipline muscle into it. Like, that's the thing about willpower. Like, you're willing your power into something. And when you're willing power you've been willing power into your negative bullshit unnecessarily forever.
Exactly.
I'm not making
Exactly.
fun. I think that's what's happening. Like, I've been there. I would use a lot of willpower to stay in a fucked situation.
Yeah.
Unconsciously, right? Because you're growing up in that. You're seeing it everywhere. These are becoming part of your unconscious patterns, and you start to be aware of these things, the universal laws. You're like, oh shit, what's happening outside of me is happening inside of me. Let me fix it on the inside. One thing come after the other, right? And you're doing this. It's like, hey, what are you going to do to like stay on track? That's what Kevin's talking about, with keeping your house clean, keeping your house in order, and in the morning having some wake up time and some kind of a physical routine. You know, don't, and he's also, and Kevin you made a valuable point. Don't aim too high. Don't bite off too much too early, right? Because you're putting a new program into your operating system. What happens when you like try to run too many programs at once on your computer and you don't have the RAM to support it? The computer's going to crash. You're going to crash. It'll go good for a day or two, and then you're back to square one. Now you're breaking promises that you made to yourself, and it can downward spiral. So aim low initially to build up that momentum. Stay on track with, because it's not that hard to just wake up and just the first thing I'm gonna do is just make my bed and then have coffee, use the bathroom, and let me just go to the gym. Like, do whatever the fuck you want to do the rest of the day. You know what I'm saying? In the beginning, honestly, make a couple calls, and that's it. Shit, I don't care. Smoke weed at nighttime. Great. I don't care. Fuck your diet. Just go to the gym. Just stay disciplined with something, you know? Go ahead, bro.
It's a game changer. And what you can do is by setting yourself up to win with small celebrations. So you want to bring in the positive feedback loop quickly, because like you're saying, most of us, when our bullshit, we've been building the negative feedback loop. So it's like, I feel bad. I feel bad about feeling bad. Oh, I feel so bad because I'm feeling bad because I felt bad, you know, and you downward spiral. That's real. And we've all been there, right? And that's a real energy. And it's fine. It's okay that we do that. And I still do that to this day. That can still happen. But the key is I know how to upward spiral. So as soon as I notice the downward spiral and it's happening, and I'm like, oh, fuck, you stop. So let the momentum die. So you have to let the momentum and the energy die in the negative direction. And that's easy. Just get out of the way of it. Stop feeding it. Stop willing it with willpower. And then create the upward spiral. And if you don't know how to upward spiral yet, and you don't have discipline yet, and you're not dialed in, and you don't have a partner, and you're not going to the gym, or your diet sucks, it's going to be hard to start the upward spiral. So you have to start it super small and just get the little wins. Like you said, like if you just woke up early and went to the gym, celebrate that, feel good, and then do it again and create, boom, now you have a spiral point, and you can actually build that positive feedback. Because what the brain does is it prioritizes the negative sensations and emotions because of survival. That's why this negative stuff in the modern world really fucks you up. You're not in that much danger. Even if you only have $100 to your name, you could live off ramen for a month. You're actually not going to die. You're going to be fine.
Hi, people. That's why we have so many homeless.
Well, and this is why our biology created the emphasis on the negative. Because when we lived in the fucking jungle, you needed to pay attention. But now you're living in a fucking city with Uber Eats. And so you have to be in control of your energy and your focus. And the negative stuff is going to pull a lot of energy. It's going to use up a lot of your dopamine, serotonin, a lot of your willpower, a lot of your motivation. So the positive path, although it is easier once it's going, it takes some effort to like shift the gear. And that's where you got to focus. And so it's tiny, tiny wins. Like for me, it's like if I'm going to train someone new, like a new client, it's like, let's just start by hydrating. Like fuck your business and all the plans. Like how much water are you drinking? What's your sleep like? What's your sexuality like? Like let's start with the really basic root chakra shit before we start going crazy into some like 10-year plan that you have.
Like that's a beautiful, beautiful point you made. Great segue into like cognitive biases. Real quick, guys, we have these biases that are ingrained in our DNA for thousands of years, having to hunt to get food. It is only a couple hundred years, like not even like 100 years. We have grocery stores, guys. Come on, come on. People don't like we spend thousands of years having to hunt to get food. Like back in the day, you might up and die. You might up and die, straight up. But the media and the world, and like, I'm not pointing fingers at the government and all this stuff like that. I mean, I kind of am, but that's not what this is about. The point is, it's happening. It's happening and it's happening, and they're recreating, literally, like, if you look at the world with the homeless people everywhere, like, you see people just suffering, you know, and just like, with like these gas prices and everything, like, I'm not giving anybody an excuse, but it is like very easy to just look like it seems like I might die out here. It seems like this could be my last day. You know what I mean? And then there's no schooling on how to deal with emotions and meditation. And you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but essentially it's really easy to just fall off the deep end by walking outside your house, psychologically. So I just want to take a moment of how much it fucking sucks and how much it hurts. And the beginning is the hardest, guys. I just want to say, like, when you're reprogramming yourself, I just want to acknowledge the gravity and the difficulty of it. And then, like, it's also it's very disheartening when you see other people talking about it like us. And we're like, just do this, just do this, just do this. And it's like this. And we outline all the processes. And we have analogies. And we have personal stories and client stories. And when you listen to us talk, it's like, oh, okay, here's steps 1 through 10. Just follow these steps and just do those. And if you fuck up, it's okay. Just like, that shit is real, but also not, because your soul has just been beat the fuck down. Like, you need to also acknowledge this. This goes back to your point, Kevin, about starting where you're at. Understand that you've been beat the fuck up. And get mad about that shit. Get mad about, you know, and like, you know, like, there's, like, I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. It's a cold world. I mean, the law of polarity says it's also a fucking beautiful world at the same time, right? Right. So, hey, listen, guys, you know, pain and pleasure are two sides of the same rope here. If I'm smoking weed all day long and I'm always high, how would I know what being high is like? Me being high would just be like sober. If I didn't go through everything I went through and gone through this process that we're talking about, like, I wouldn't have this much enthusiasm, like, for one, about it, coming out of it, and I wouldn't value the kind of life I live now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, really, I could just be cool chilling all day. Like, straight up. Like, mind you, shit happens all the time. There's bullshit happening but it's just like, this is the theater of my life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my brain, my unconscious competency is just embedded. Like, I have embedded these laws and these understandings of the human being operating system into my being. Like, I'm one with it. So until that happens, it can take a day, a week, a second. I've seen people do this. I'm like, oh, crazy enlightenment. Okay, but like, however long it takes, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, isn't it worth it?
Yeah.
Isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth it, whatever it takes to live life like the people you see on social media that have happy-ass lives? Like, isn't it, you know what I'm saying, to go through that shit? And I'm saying, and I want to validate, that it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Yeah. Building that upward spiral and like understanding like how to do that. And the real thing is, after you do it and you go back in the downward spiral, and this yo-yo, this roller coaster, one foot in heaven, rest of your body's in hell. You got one leg in heaven, rest of the body's in hell. Then the whole body goes back to hell. Then you peek your head back into heaven. You're like, yay. And then somehow you hang out with some millionaire, and then he just grabs you in the door, and then you're kicking it for a whole day, and you're like, life is, I'm going to do everything. And then you're back at your house the next day, and you're like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like, game. This is the game, family. This is the fucking game. And it's hard as fuck. Do it or die. Do it or die.
And it's meaningful. It's the most meaningful thing you will do, is to work on yourself. Like, all the money you make, all the business, all the partners, whatever cool shit you like, toys, cars, whatever, it's all going to be gone when you die, when you leave the body, right? And you can be immortal, you can live a long time. Maybe we'll see a day where humans live a couple hundred years. I think it's possible, but it doesn't matter. This is soul camp. This is soul university. You're having these experiences on earth to upgrade and evolve your energetic being. And so, into my mind, no matter what you're doing, you can be a janitor, you can be a homeless dude, you can be a millionaire with 5 Teslas. You're going to just be doing the same thing, which is starting where you're at on your soul mission and living it out. And what is that for you? You got to figure it out. What do you love? What are you curious about? Move in that direction. A lot of people will have a lot of these processes and routines and start crushing it, but then they get confused about where to put their energy. Well, you put your energy on what you're interested in. Like society, like you were saying, has beat us down. Oh, you can't be an artist. You need to go into finance. You can't do that. You need to do it this way. This is why I didn't go into academia. I thought I was going to do a PhD in psychology, and I was geeking out in the university, and I was going into this grooming around this is how you're going to be academic. This is how to be a good boy in the system. And I just say, fuck it. And that's how I became an entrepreneur. I was like, why is this so hard? And it's just like, it was like that breakthrough moment where I literally had to pop out of that entire timeline and be like, I'm beating myself up for not fitting in to something I hate because people told me that I should love it. And that's the mind fuck.
Respectfully interject because this is good. So back to the like what you're talking about, on point. I want to know your thoughts. The person listening, that's like, hey, this is really good. Okay, I got mad. I seen the opportunity. Caution Kevin to clean the room and wake up in the morning. I'm disciplined. I'm stacking these wins. I'm charging up in the morning. I'm maintaining high vibrations. Things are picking up. I'm applying myself on things that interest me, right? I'm like looking for where I'm most enthusiastic and where I'm put, like to your point. Now, what happens in the scenario, because this happened to me too, where the charge kind of dies out in what you're interested in, and then you can fall backwards into the low vibration, and then you start to second guess, like, am I doing the right thing? Because like you're doing all this stuff in the morning, and like then you're going to pay your bills, or you're like, hey, I can't pay for brunch right now, or credit card statements are still piling up, and perhaps what I'm applying myself into isn't so lucrative yet. Of course, I understand that there's like a learning curve in it and whatnot, but then what does that person have to remember, or what can you tell that person, like they're doing all the right things, right? They got the routine, they're building up the positive ones in the morning, they're applying themselves in an area of passion, and their life is still sucking. Because this happened. This is real life. This is real life, right?
Yeah, happens all the time.
Talking to this, I went through it. I know you went through it. That's that shit I'm talking about, where it's psychologically taxing. What do you give that person in that moment? How do they adjust? Do they pivot to what they're doing? Do they take on a new lens on what they're doing? Do they do both? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's all about stacks. Like we've talked about it, like building these stacks. You're building a structure, you're building geometry. So if you have your health and your energy dialed, you have routine and some kind of discipline dialed, but the money's not happening, for example. So you're doing all the things, but you can never get ahead, and you're like in debt or you're fucked up. Or, something's not landing. So it's like you want to do the thing, and the thing's not happening. And you start to freak out about it.
Yeah.
It's like without fully just dropping everything and be like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to do something else. You can do that. It's a very extreme path. I've done it. I wouldn't recommend it. You can pivot with agility. So this is to build agility. You can make those small pivots. And for example, if you have a main source of income, a lot of people are like, I want to quit my job. I want to fucking do XYZ, become an entrepreneur. I want to be an artist. I want to go into crypto. I want to coach, whatever. Awesome. Don't quit your job. Build a lifeboat. You can't just jump off the boat you've been on and then swim in the ocean. You're going to get fucking tired. And without the income, you're going to be fucked. So in that example, build a lifeboat. Start a side hustle. What are you doing when you're not at your job? What are you spending your time on when you're not working? Most people numb out. Get drunk, get high, go get fucked up with the boys. That's fine. You can still do that. but spend your time learning. All your free time. This is Naval Ravikant, who's a fucking OG, one of my gurus. He's a co-founder of AngelList, best VC firm in the world. He's like, the only thing I'm doing when I'm not earning, learning, or resting is having fun. So learning, earning, or resting. So earning, you know, is the big one. Earning is like your job. So if you're at a day job, when you're not at your day job, you should either be training, learning, or having fun. And having fun is meaningful. It's not random. It's not bullshit going, you know, and getting like depleted or wasting money or wasting opportunities. You know, a good rager or bender is great. Like we all can do that. It's fine. Like I do it too. I'm not speaking out against it. Yeah, I know you do. And we'll probably do it together one day.
Oh yeah.
And if you're not, like, I spend a lot of free time just learning. Like, what's going on? I need to learn about XYZ, and I just follow what I'm passionate about. I turn my learning into income, though, because I apply it.
You're saying some gangster ass shit. I hate that. Excuse the interjection, my brother. Just people, your resources in check. All right, be able to like live for 3 months before you make these crazy moves. Like I would say, like 6 months, depending on your risk tolerance. Like you know yourself. You know what I mean? If you're like you know what I mean? Like maybe you're like me, maybe you're like Kevin. You know what I mean? Like and you're hella extreme, and you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna see what happens. Great, if that's you. Go with your temperament. But most people, I'm like, hey, keep that baseline of like whatever your living expenses are coming in and then some. Like there's nothing, like you can do this. You can wake up at a decent hour, make your bed, keep your house in order, have a physical routine, be meditating, have a job or a side hustle that you're consistent with, and then literally from that place, use the remainder. It's like literally 65% of your day is still left over. Like, you know what I mean? Straight up. That you can use to then make these agility, to use your word, to be more agile and make those pivots from that place, guys. I just have to jump in there and just kind of hone that in for people because I want everyone to watch this and be like, okay, when I do this, I can do this, or maybe someone's at step 3 and then here we're talking about 4, maybe someone's at 5, they're like 6, you know, and we're talking about, you know, maybe someone's at 1 or 2, like how to do 3, okay? So guys, you know, wherever you fall into the sequence here, understand there is a process, there's a way to do this. And just, yeah, you got to stick with it, man. Okay, back to you.
Yeah, man, I love that. Thanks for honing it. I mean, the last thing I'll say with that on that, like that stream is ultimately the goal is, you know, we could call it different names: financial freedom, fulfillment, a deep sense of loving intimacy and belonging. Most people just want to be in love, actually. I've worked with total millionaire gangster people that are at next level. Underneath everything, they just want to be in love. They just want to have a good relationship.
They just want to hug.
That's it. Like
I'm the one to do it too. I'm like, bring it in, dog. Bring it in. Out.
And they built a whole empire to get love, but then they're missing it, you know? So that's the number one need is life happens in relationships, and ultimately it's about love and being loved and giving love. And so you got to get right with that. Now, on the next level, say you have that, say you found, you know, your queen, your king, and you're chilling and you love it. Then you want to get free. So you want to stop trading your time for money. And then, you know, I'm still in this game. I'm still working on it. This is why I love to invest. This is why I love to follow the cutting edge trends where there's a lot more risk, but there's a lot more opportunity. I don't like playing the slower games. So I move in a different way. For you, it'll look different, but you want to stop trading time for money. So again, to use Naval's stuff is just coming through. And I've probably listened to every single, you know, audio interview that he's done. And I mean, he has some books he's compiled and they're all free online. It's amazing. If you look up the Navalmanac.
Like, hey guys, like, hold on, Kevin's about to tell you who's the author. What are these books?
I'm gonna put his name right here. Naval Ravikant. If you just literally look up, just Google that name, Spotify that name, and you have homework. You have like a month's worth of reading. And
okay.
This dude's a gangster, and like his system is the best I found for entrepreneurship specifically. And this can, even if you're working corporate, if you have savings or like, you know, fuck your 401k that's just inflating right now. You know, use it to create businesses and assets that earn while you sleep. So that's the difference between being rich, like, oh, I have a bunch of money in the bank, versus businesses and assets that earn while you sleep. Totally different game. Because then one day, when you play that game long term, 10, 20 years from now, you don't need to work. You can live off of what you built. And ideally, what you built is from passion. And this is where, you know, I'm an artist at heart too. So for me, content writing, when I put out my book, when I create content, when I record guided meditations or a music track, that's what lights me up. I may not get as paid as much for that, but it's directly enabled and linked to my coaching, to my consulting, to my events. So I built a lifestyle that is actually symbiotic. And so a lot of people, you know, once you've made these first kind of moves, and you're like, all right, now I'm making good money, or now I'm doing the thing I want.
Now I'm stable.
Yeah, and when you get stable, make sure you build your passion in. Build your passion back in. Don't abandon it. Because then you become the guy who's like, you know, fuck Wall Street. I'm going to open my own trading business or whatever. And then 20 years later, he's burnt out and he has to go drink ayahuasca or do a fucking healing retreat because he doesn't even know who he is anymore, even though he crushed the game.
Coaching, or they're going to hit up Kevin for coaching now.
Right. I talk to these people and they're amazing. They're hustlers, but they lost sight of their passions. So they got dried up.
Yeah. So guys, man, just in essence, understand what part of the game you're in. We're talking a little bit more on the 7 through 10 side of things, which is phenomenal. And I want to say that wherever you're at, even if it's like, hey, I'm just trying to figure out how to wake up early in the morning, start there. But one thing that I want to point out is keep your eyes on the prize, in that I'm trying to achieve stability and financial freedom in a way that is bringing me fulfillment. Like, I feel happy doing the thing that puts my life where I want my life to be. You're just high all the time. That's really what we're going for. That's how I got started. I'm like, how do I smile all the time? That's literally all I want to know. That's literally all I was trying to figure out, guys. So this is very important. Investments, finding your enthusiasm. Oh, this is crazy. Jay Shetty said that this is good. Jay Shetty, he gave this great analogy. He was like, what did he say? He's like, your interests are like an infant, right? You're interested in something. And then you have a passion. A passion is like a teenager, right? A passion is like a teenager. And then you have your purpose, right? Purpose would be like an adult. Now, last I checked, you have to start off as an infant, then a teenager, then become an adult, right? You don't just skip straight to, it's like in relationships, guys. Like, people be like, on relationship number 10, oh, it's my soulmate, it's great, I found my king, I found my queen, it's awesome. If you would have met relationship number 10 person on relationship 1 through 9, it wouldn't have worked out. It's because you have to become the person through relationships 1 through 9 that even allow you to be the person that can actually receive relationship 10. There's a sequence to these things. Go back and watch the video over, guys. We're literally starting from the ground up, straight scarcity mindset, law of polarity, and how to crawl out of that, get stable, and then find your passion. As cliche as it sounds, guys, I'm like, straight up. I love talking to people. I used to own supplement companies, invest in real estate, and was like deep in the fitness industry, like doing a whole bunch of modeling, traveling around expos, like that, being that guy. Competing, diet life, and it was awesome. I just didn't know that it wasn't my purpose. At that time, I thought it was, but it was a passion.
Right.
I'm really interested in business. I'm really passionate about building business. Yeah, but my purpose is being a guide, being an advisor, being a coach, being a way shower, because that is just what lights my soul up way more than analyzing some ad analytics to figure out how to make X thousand more dollars on the next push. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit's basically Legos. Now, I'm not talking down on it, but for me, it's like, hey, play with the Legos or fucking hop into like a fucking anime Gundam and go fly around in space.
There it is. Get in the Gundam, bro.
About consulting versus being an entrepreneur. I mean, I'm still an entrepreneur, but you guys feel me on this, right? I would have never, if you would have talked to me 3 years ago, I would have been like, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I build businesses, is what I do. I'm like, absolutely not now. You know what I'm saying? Indirectly building businesses through building other people, the business extension. So a little into myself about how I do all that, guys. Kevin, thank you so much. Any last words for the people? Is there any last thoughts, things you want to leave us with?
Yeah, man, I love what you just broke down there around the difference between interest, passion, purpose. It's really critical to understand. The only way to understand that is trial and error, I would say. I've changed many times, transformed. The more I go within myself, like my deepest purpose is teacher, philosopher. And that's what I love and light up the most with. And it also looks similar to what you're sharing around, consulting, guiding, and being that Obi-Wan Kenobi, that mentor to people crushing businesses and crushing empires, because that's where I shine. And I also get highly paid and can support my other systems with that. So it's a perfect, like, top of the pyramid model for me. And everyone's going to have a different version of that. I think we need way more coaches and mentors and guides. So, if that's what you want to do, if you feel any calling towards that, fucking go for it. There's so much space available. People think it's saturated because you're stuck in the screen on Instagram, but like there's way more to the game than just what you see on Instagram. And to your point around the scarcity piece, what's funny about this whole video is if you're watching this and you have a device to watch this, you are way more ahead than 90% of the planet.
Facts.
A lot of people don't have what you have right now, an internet connection, an iPhone, a laptop, whatever. If you have that, you are way ahead of the game. So you're on like step 4 already automatically.
That is crazy perspective, guys. That is key. Gary Vee's screaming about this forever. It's true, okay? It's true. Literally, yeah. That's gonna be another video. We gotta do this more often, bro. Like, this is awesome. Like, I'm just like feeling all the energy, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, people need to hear this more. Yeah. Hey guys, I love you guys, man. Kevin loves you guys. That's a beautiful, like, fucking perspective.
Yeah,
Literally. Here, and you got food. Even if you're in Section 8 housing, you're still better than 98% of the world.
you're living large. Let's go.
Let's go, family. Kevin, it was an honor. Thank you.
Big love, bro. Appreciate it as always.
Love you, brother. It's my guy right here. Give him a follow, Kevin Orzo. Till next time, I'm gonna have him back on again. Love you, brother.
See you, bro.